All right, again, everyone, welcome. We are going to start by going over the 4 components of our program. So most of you already know these 4 components, but let's go ahead and review it anyway. So the first one is your Optavia coach. We all get a free coach, right? Your coach is committed to healthy habits. It doesn't mean that we have to be perfect, but it means that we are trying to grow right alongside you. I have found in our company that clients who use their coach weekly, just for a weekly 5-minute check-in, are seeing double the results than those who don't check in at all. If you're not taking advantage of this free resource, we're missing out on the amazing support and mindfulness that it creates. So that's number 1. Our second component is our Habits of Health transformational system, and this is our education system. It doesn't matter how much you think you know. It doesn't matter how many times you've tried to lose weight. If you don't have the tools to work on rewriting the way we think about food, first of all, and the way we approach life, it's impossible really to make lifelong changes. You work through this at your own pace, and it will teach you how to increase your health in all of the areas. The third component is our Optavia community, and we really have the most amazing community, you guys. We have webinars and Facebook groups that you can plug into. If you're in a place where you feel like you just don't have the support you need, then you can jump in and be part of this community that will help you move forward in your health. So our last component is our scientifically designed fuelings. Our fuelings keep things simple and easy so that you can focus on getting to your goal weight. If you don't know anything about healthy nutrition, that's totally okay, because these are tools you can use from day 1 that are going to get your body healthy. Then as you progress through our system, you will learn more and learn how to do things on your own. Our fueling technology makes it accessible to anyone who wants to create better health.
Thank you, Becky. Thank you so much. That's such great insight to the 4 components of this program. All right, so tonight, you guys, I thought that it would be fun to talk a little bit about traditions, okay, and how to really empower yourself around them. So let me ask you a question. Do you have traditions in your family or in your life that are holding you back from accomplishing what maybe you set out to accomplish in your health? Okay, so sometimes we need to just take a step back, right? And we need to ask ourselves, all right, so are these traditions serving me? Now, I think it's interesting how we can make a decision, right? Like we can make a decision that we want to create some healthy habits in our life, but we feel this need for some reason to hang on to these traditions. So not all of the time have I felt this way, but personally, when I think back on my health journey, there were certain traditions that I had a really, really hard time of letting go. And it's like I had this huge mental block, and it took me a minute. And then I realized, okay, who says that I'm actually married to these traditions that I grew up with? It's crazy how our brains work. And I'll dive into that a little later. So tonight, I just want to empower you to make some new traditions, okay? New traditions that support what you're creating in your health. So when we can step into this space, it really allows us to stay mindful for the long run. Okay, now I want to talk about, like, just to kind of piggyback off that, it's really about bringing the power back into your life. Now, Dr. A, he's got this amazing quote, and I wanted to share it with you guys tonight. He says, one of the biggest and the most powerful realizations we can ever have is to know that our life path is not fixed. The way you think, the way you act, the people you spend time with, and even the world you live in, it can all be changed. All things are possible. You have the capability over time with specific focus, guidance, and practice to really become the dominant force in your life. All right, so one of the questions I want to start with tonight is, who is responsible for your current health and well-being? Okay, is it someone else or is it you? All right. Okay, I think we know the answer. It's definitely you, right? Or maybe hopefully we know that. If not, you will by the end of tonight. So you have the power and you've got the responsibility. I'm just going to help you harness that tonight, and we're going to take it to a whole new level. So this is something I just really want you to open your mind to. Now, look at this diagram. Where are you right now? Are you above the line or are you below the line? So above the line is living where you've got this mindset that's open, it's curious, and it's about growth. And then below the line, this is where you're kind of just like closed and defensive, and you kind of have this feeling you always want to be right. So where do you think you are right now? Look at that. And I don't want you to judge it, okay? I just really want you to observe where you're at. This is awareness, okay? So if you find that you're judging it, I want you to know that actually puts you below the line. So just stay open, curious, and I want you to ask yourself, where am I in my life right now? You know, we really want to start getting in touch with where we're at on a regular basis, okay? And especially when we've got things that kind of trigger us, they kind of just rip that cord or just kind of pull our chain, that's where that awareness needs to come into play. So I want you to do a little exercise with me right now. I want you to hold out your hands, okay? And I want you to wiggle your fingers. And I just want you to have some movement around that and just feel what's going on. You guys, this is energy of being open, curious, and all about growth. Now, I want you to do something else. I want you to take those hands and I want you to make like 2 tight fists, okay, in both hands. I want you digging your nails into the palm of your hands. Doesn't feel too good, does it? Doesn't feel good on the knuckles. It doesn't feel good in the palms of your hands. It doesn't feel good anywhere. You guys, this is an example of just being closed and defensive and contracted, right? So see how that energy feels so much different than when you were wiggling your fingers. So now you can really start paying attention when something like upsets you, annoys you, throws you off kilter. It just helps raise that awareness. And then you ask yourself, where am I right now? And pay attention to the energy, as it's going to help you identify where you are, above or below the line. And I just want to say that being below the line, you guys, it's not a bad thing. In fact, a lot of amazing things happen below the line. But what I'm trying to help you understand is that when you can actually locate yourself and then begin to shift, you're taking steps to becoming that dominant force in your life. And I want to really help you create what I'm going to call tonight is a personal empowerment plan, okay? So the first step in doing this is we got to take charge of our health, okay? And we do this by getting really clear on what we want. So you might have heard this before, we refer to this as our why. So I'm going to ask you some questions. What do you want? And not what do you want in the moment or what do you want around that tradition, but rather, what are the desires you have for the big picture of your life, okay? Do you want more freedom? Do you want to live a healthier life, okay? What does it take to get there? And are you willing to put in the work to make that a reality? And are you willing to let go of some traditions that no longer serve you? And then to back that question up, are you willing to create the life that you want and create some traditions that support that? So you guys, take a deep breath, okay? You're probably like, wow, Heather just kind of like putting on the heat. I'm having to figure out where I'm at. I want you to recognize we're all in different places in our health journey, okay? And sometimes we need to just revisit what maybe those goals were that we set out for ourselves. So ask yourself, okay, do my current goals right now align with my future self? Because how many times have we maybe set some goals, we already hit them, and then we forget, like, okay, what's next? We need to set more goals for ourselves because this is a lifelong journey, right? We're always working on ourselves. Now, I hope, you guys, my hope that is when this challenge is over, which this challenge has been amazing and has brought so much good content to help us just keep moving forward in what we want. But I hope when it's over, you guys keep forging this path, right, to a better you. Don't take your foot off the gas when it's over. We've got to set new goals for ourselves to keep us moving forward to creating what it is that we want to create in our lives. And you guys, another thing, maybe you need to create some structural tension, right? So that you can have a really clear idea of what your current reality is versus where you want to be. And when you can visualize this, it allows you to put in these action steps and create some what we call habit loops for a specific habit of health that you're working on. So Dr. A talks about this in Element 3, for those of you that are familiar with the Life book. So our Habits of Health transformation system really allows you to organize new habits in a way that's super easy, right? When you've got the tools to transform like your current behaviors to a new sustainable habit, you guys, they're going to serve you for a lifetime. Now, the process really helps you organize these goals in a way that's going to help you focus on your primary habits. So when we're focused on the big picture, then the little things and the decisions that we make in those moments, those are going to add up over time. All right, so next, is empower through knowledge. All right, so I want to just talk a little bit about living in presence versus living in drama. So Dr. A teaches us about the empowerment triangle and how it's the opposite of the drama triangle. Okay, this is all in element 4. So how do you know when you're in the drama triangle is the big question. So there's things that you can actually look for, and there's feelings that you can keep your eyes out for and just check yourself. So these are going to be things like you're just feeling like things are really serious, right? Or you might just have this feeling that you are absolutely committed to being right about something. So like, for example, like, oh my gosh, we've had these traditions in our family for decades. How the heck are we even going to go to the lake house and be able to enjoy our time if we can't even do the same traditions or the same things that we used to do or eat the same foods? Like, put whatever in that slot that works. So here's the tip. The more serious the problem that you make something, the more in the drama triangle you are, okay? So let's quickly go over the drama roles, you guys. When you're acting as the hero, you are actually offering like a temporary relief, right? You're stepping into the space where you're like, I'm gonna do everything for everyone, instead of like empowering and teaching people how to do it for themselves. And when you're in the villain role, you are actually looking for someone or something to blame. And you're searching, you want to place fault somewhere. And guess what? Sometimes we are placing that fault and that blame on ourselves. So when you're in the victim role, you're looking at everything that is happening in your world or around you as if it's like happening to you. And then guess what? You're reacting to that, right? So when you're living in presence, you are more mindful, you're more creative, you are more engaged and energized to learning something, it's just more important than being right. And when you can learn how to look at a situation or look at an obstacle through the lens of like one of the roles of the empowerment triangle, you actually begin to shift and your approach to the matter is so much different. So I kind of wanted to give you guys some examples of what shifting from drama to empowerment looks like with each of these roles. So how do we shift from victim to creator? Okay, so this is where you take responsibility for where you're at, right? You can still have a great time at the lake house or the summer vacation with friends, because you know what? You're choosing to enjoy the moments, you're choosing to create the memories and just enjoy those conversations because you're with the people that you love, right? Instead of making every single like decision or move about what are we going to eat? What are we going to drink, right? Like bring it back down to what's important, right? And it's the people, it's the conversation and the memories. So the villain becomes the challenger. And this is where you actually bring like this healthy pressures to others just to think, a different way, think of new ideas. And here's the thing, when you're in the challenger role, you're not really attached to anyone's decision, right? Especially if they don't agree with you. Okay, you're just challenging and helping people to grow, and not in a way where you actually expect anything back. All right, you just kind of detach from that. So when you shift from hero to coach, you're actually looking around not to fix problems, okay, but rather you're walking around and you're empowering people create what they want, right? So I love this analogy. Instead of handing them a fish, you're actually teaching them how to fish. I just wanted to share a story. You guys, when I started my health journey, I was the queen of victim mode, okay? I lived in the victim role. I lived in that space all the time. And so I had a group of friends that every time we were together, you guys, it was about the food and the drinks, always 100%. So we would do these monthly brunches together, and it was all about like the super delicious, savory, not so like healthy breakfast dishes. And we always paired them with bottomless mimosas. This was our tradition, you guys. We had done this for years. So when I started my health journey, I had this story that I was telling in my head that, you know what, my girlfriends don't care that I'm trying to get healthy, or maybe they would have some like different food options at our brunches, or maybe they would pick a different restaurant that had healthier options. You guys, gaining knowledge through the life book has really shown me that I have a choice in how I want to let things affect me. And can I tell you how freeing that was? It was cool. It was kind of like I was able to take my power back, and instead of having the like woe is me attitude or everything is happening to me, I would actually speak up, and I would just make a suggestion like, hey, maybe these are some different restaurants we could try because I've taken a look and I can see some healthy options there. Or maybe I would offer like, hey, I want to offer to bring a specific side dish, right? Like, I don't know why we feel like we need to slip into the roles and just follow along with what everyone else is doing. But what I also did, you guys, and this is where I feel like there's some fear around this sometimes, is I shared with my friends that I was just trying to change some habits for some health goals that I was working on. And guess what? To my surprise, they were actually really supportive and were totally open to changing things up because they appreciated our like tradition of getting together. And they also realized too, right? It's about the friendship and having time together. But here's the other thing. I also realized I didn't have to have bottomless mimosas all the time, right? Like sometimes I didn't have any. And it's like, I just felt this pressure, like, well, they're cheaper if you do it that way and everyone's doing it. And I don't want to feel like the weirdo. But guess what? When I had a cup of espresso, you guys, I wasn't the weirdo. Okay. So as long as I was telling myself a story, I was in that victim role. And the moment I made the shift, it changed everything. And I felt empowered and I was excited that I could still have these traditions with my girlfriend. But that tradition didn't need to be the same as it was before. Okay. You guys, we get so worried about what other people think and if we're offending them or if we're going to hurt them. So we choose to do nothing. And doing nothing doesn't allow anything to change, right? So it's all about the little decisions and the shifts that we make to keep moving us forward. So knowledge is power, and realizing that you have to change the way you think and approach life if you want to become that dominant force in your world. Okay, so next step. This is building resilience, okay? This really comes down to creating some awareness around what you desire. So shift happens when you have a new mindset, which results in new goals, okay? So our thoughts, I love this saying, our thoughts create our feelings spark our actions, and our actions create our results. So if you want different results in your life, then you need to have to think and do things just a little differently. So I wanted to share some ways on how you can build some resilience, okay? So this is setting your intentions for the day. Now, your approach in the morning, you guys, it's going to dictate how your day unfolds. So I encourage you, take a moment, do a little self-reflecting. Do you grab your phone first thing in the morning when you wake up and you checking emails, you scroll on social media? Because if you do, you guys, you're stepping into a reactive state. And that is going to dictate how you're going to show up the rest of the day. You're going to be in a reactive mode instead of taking charge of your day. Okay. So another thing, this is doing some daily self-reflection. Ask yourself things like, where am I at, right? Locate yourself. Or how am I feeling? Or what changes could I make today to create positive and peaceful energy so that I can stay focused on what really matters? Another thing is journaling. You guys, there's so much power in putting pen to paper, right? This helps with daily reflection, and it really helps you stay on the path to your goals and whatever it is that you're creating. This is also reading your why. Okay. This is reading your why over and over again. And I always say, have it posted where you can see it. Our why is what always keeps us pushing forward. But our why, you guys, it's also going to evolve over time. Just like when we can complete a goal, we're setting new goals, right? So it's important to be familiar with what it is that you truly desire and why you're going for it. So if your why isn't strong enough, then this is a shift that you'll need to make, okay? So think of it this way. Your why should stir this like excitement in you, okay? It's actually what motivates you each day to get out of bed, get your feet on the floor, get to work. Your why is a huge factor to your long-term success, all right? So another thing, this is positive thinking and daily affirmations. So how we think and talk about ourselves is critical in how we show up. All right. And I'm not just talking about how we show up for ourselves, you guys. I'm talking about how we show up as a parent, a spouse, a friend, a boss, a coworker, like all the things, all the areas of our lives. So work on creating some positive self-dialogue for yourself. This is also sharpening your mental focus. All right. So I want you to part of this is working on approaching every obstacle as the way to a better you. Okay. So one of the things that I love to ask are what are you feeding your brain, right? What are you reading? And does it inspire you? Does it encourage you to be better? And is it something that makes your soul happy? I do these self-reflections when I'm Netflix binging, right? It's okay, this is not filling me. This is draining me. So do that. That's an amazing thing. And then finally, this is leading from the future and it's acting in the now. Okay. So maybe you need to have a funeral for your old self and your old traditions. What do you think about that? It's an interesting concept, right? You guys, you can replace old habits and old traditions with new ones. So take responsibility, shift that mindset, and create some new traditions. Stop resisting and just get curious. I think anytime we do hard things, you guys, just know that your brain is programmed to survive. Okay. Like it thinks it needs to be in survival mode all the time, not thriving. So ask yourself, okay, what if I could change my traditions, right? What if having that mindset shift allowed me to see, what if the opposite were true, right? I love these things. Okay, so in order to change our mindset and create some self-awareness, it might help to kind of understand how our brains work. So this diagram is really a creative way to show kind of the different levels in your brain, okay? So you'll see at the bottom, we call this the lizard, which is the basal ganglion, I hope I pronounced that right, of the brain. This is the oldest part, which actually automates all the things that we do, right? This is the part of the brain that takes this handles all the automatic functions like breathing and moving, hunger, thirst, survival. So if you move up to the next section of our brain, this is our limbic system, okay? Better known as like the emotional center. And I love that Dr. A refers us as the Labrador. So this region of the brain really allows us to have emotions, and it's a much richer experience. Now, if you go up to the top part, this is where we have our human thinking brain. Okay, this is the prefrontal cortex. So this is the thinking, it's the willpower, and it's the discipline part of the brain. Now, however, we do allow the Labrador and the lizard sometimes, those parts of the brain, to hijack our thinking brain. So how do we take charge of all of this, right? You might be thinking, okay, Heather, yeah, that makes sense. But so this is where, I want to give you a little tool. This is where you stop, challenge, and choose. You guys, it's a great tool. So if you're new here and you're just joining the challenge, you're like, I don't know that I understand what she's talking about. It's just a really great tool to help people really regain control of themselves. So we go throughout our day, we're reacting to things around us. And many times that reaction is at a subconscious level. What happens is we have a stimulus and then we respond automatically to our emotions, right? Those emotions are welling up inside of us and then they have us react, and you just start reacting too late. So you're now involved and you've become emotional, and we forget all about thinking logically, okay? When that happens, I want you to stop, okay? I want you to observe what's going on. And then I want you to challenge yourself. Why am I thinking this way? Or why do I feel a certain way? And then I want you to choose. I want you to choose an outcome that moves you forward in a progressive way. Okay. When you do this, you now have created the gap. And that gap, you guys, that's everything. Self-awareness is the first step in challenging your previous programming. Okay. This will be one of the most important habits of health that you can ever learn, and it will develop over time throughout your journey. And you're going to use this in all areas of your life. I promise you. Okay. So finally, we have positive relationships. This is linking arms with the person that invited you, right? This is like leaning into people because you've got someone walking alongside of you. So whether you just joined the challenge, whether you're a client, it doesn't matter, right? You've got someone that invited you that's there for you to help create positive movement forward, to help with struggles, all the things. But you guys, this is also community, right? Joining this challenge, you are part of this community. You've been brought into this wonderful place. We all need community. And sometimes we take a moment, we look around at our personal lives, we don't have a lot of people that support us, okay? So we really want to kind of create that in our lives. And I'm so grateful that we've got this. Now, you guys, I want to just kind of throw this out there. This is kind of a fun thing to evaluate your circles. So this is, I want you to look at the people you surround yourself with, okay? I want you to look at your 5 closest friends or the 5 people you spend the most time with every day. And we're going to rate them on a scale of 1 to 5, okay? 5 being very supportive, okay? These people are maybe running at a higher level. They're accomplishing things that you look forward to doing too. Those are 5s. 3s, these are pretty these are your steady eddies, right? These are your friends that are always by your side. They always support you in your goals. They're always there for you. These are your 3s. 1s, okay, guys, these are the not supportive folks, okay? These are people that you might feel like are always bringing you down to their level, or they're trying to always sabotage your success. You guys, we want mostly 5s and 3s in our circle, okay? These are the people that will always lift you higher, and you'll find that you succeed more with these kind of circles. Positive relationships allow us to grow and become our best version. All right, So action step, real quick. You guys ready? I want you to think of one thing that you can implement this week from this personal empowerment plan that I talked about. Okay. What calls to you to move you forward? And I encourage you, share it with the person that invited you. Okay. What makes this action step so powerful is that you're actually declaring what action step you want to do to help support and what you want. And remember, you guys, it's never about the traditions. It's about your mindset about the traditions. Okay. You're the one in control and you get to create what you want. So I want to just take a few minutes here. I want to turn the time over to Becky because I'm going to have her share a little bit about her journey around creating a healthy mindset and how that has really impacted her life.
All right, thanks, Heather. That information was amazing and stuff that we all need to hear. Again, my name is Becky, and my story kind of started back in 2005 when my husband and I opened a 10,000 square foot fitness center in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. That chapter ended in 2014 when we lost the business in a massive gas explosion. So if you look it up, it's actually the largest gas explosion that's ever taken place in the US where there were no fatalities. So we were very lucky that we literally got out alive, but we lost everything. So we lost the business, we lost our cars, all of our parents are deceased and a lot of their belongings were on site. So we lost all of that. We definitely lost our ability to make a living. So we had to move reluctantly from Jackson and we moved to North Idaho at that point. So when we moved, when you talk about living below the line, and I'm sorry, I get really emotional when I talk about this, but I lived 4 years of my life as a big, massive victim. I was bitter, I was angry at a corporation that couldn't care less what happened to our family. And it was exhausting. It was exhausting mentally. It was exhausting physically. There were days when I would literally pull into a parking garage in the middle of the day so that I could sleep in my car because I was so tired. And it just had this ugly, bitter anger. And I would vomit my story on anyone who would listen. It was not who I was, but I lived 4 years being like that. It got bad enough that my husband actually sat down with me and he said, you need to stop doing this because you're letting this be your identity. And then I got mad at him because he was taking that identity away from me. And if you looked at it from the outside, like my life looked like everything was perfect. Like I had a beautiful house, I had a beautiful car, I had a happy marriage. I was a CrossFit athlete, so I was strong and in shape. So everything looked perfect, but you couldn't really see on the inside that what I had going on was eating me from the inside out. And I drug my kids into it and my husband into it. And I know now, like what I know with the mindset work and the self-development work of Optavia, that having this, if I had had that back then, it would have completely changed that 4 years. And there are parts of me that really feel like I lost 4 years of my life because I was so bitter and I was so angry. And I can't say enough about how much coaching and the mindset work has done for me when I didn't really think that that's what I needed. I thought I needed more money because we lost our business. That's what I thought that we needed. I thought I needed healthy finances, which I did. But the mindset part of it has been such a bigger part. And I know that during that 4 years, I would have showed up as a better parent. I would have showed up as a better wife and as a better human being if I had known what I now know. So I can only say thank you to Heather for bringing me to Optavia. Thank you. I'll turn it back over to Heather.
We may have lost Heather. Thank you so much, Becky, for that share. So powerful. I can definitely relate, and I think a lot of people on here can as well. So thanks for joining us tonight, everyone. We are going to move to our next portion of our call in just a second. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to have two different breakouts tonight. One breakout is we're going to be giving out some information about being 500% more likely to reach and maintain a healthy weight long-term, and reaching into your community and bringing others along with you and improving your healthy finances. So that breakout is going to be right here in this room. And then our other breakout, so I'm going to open the breakout rooms in just a second, will be for new coaches. So anyone who has become a coach in the last month or two, feel free to join the new coach breakout room. And otherwise, if you're going to stick around, we're happy that you are. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. And just to plug, if you live in the Utah Salt Lake area, we're going to have an in-person training this Saturday, a super Saturday, 9 a.m. to noon. So we'd love to see you there as well. Thanks so much, you guys.